Good evening, everyone. Folks, find a seat, please. If you're going to stand, that's cool. If you're looking for a spot, why don't you go find it and we'll start this thing. I'd like to welcome you to the Bear Valley Lodge. Excuse me. Folks, I'd like to welcome you to the Bear Valley Lodge for the 4th Annual Winter Sport History Night, presented by the Ebbets Pass Historical Association. This association is chartered to capture archival information on Bear Valley, the Highway 4 corridor, Alpine County, catalog it, and offer that up for public consumption through events like tonight. We have a little museum here in the commercial center we're quite proud of. If you've never been in it, you might want to take a chance to look in tomorrow. That's correct, Susie? Susie will be in there, man in the fort. So, if you haven't had a chance to go in,
there's a lot of really interesting artifacts and photos on the history of Bear Valley and Alpine County. Some of the officers that we have a few that aren't here tonight, but Phil Davis is one of our board members, and Joanne is a board member as well, a long-time Bear Valleyite. She's not here; she just had some surgery, so she couldn't make it. Phil, I think, is in Thailand or somewhere. Phil Davis is species in Thailand. That's amazing. But we do. Susie Shempy Lewis is here. Yes. Eric John, is Eric here? Eric? Yeah. And I have the pleasure and the honor of being on this board too. So it's been a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun with it. We do 2 programs a year. We do a winter one and we do a summer one. And the winter one is really focusing on winter sports along the Highway 4 corridor. I'd like to thank our sponsors for tonight's event at Gateway Press, that's Walt and Jean Ann, Gabe Callan Stone and Chatham Vineyards, they donated the wine tonight, Snowshoe Brewing Company, Charvine Designs, and the Bear Valley Lodge. Thank you. Reminder of a couple of events that are coming up here in the lodge. On Christmas Eve, we have our annual Christmas soiree here where we have cookie decorating, coloring contest. Mr. and Mrs. Santa come and give out canteens and caroling and all of that, and that's kind of fun. It's on our website, bearvalleylodge.com. Also, New Year's, we're going to have our annual New Year's celebration here in the lodge. We have DJ playing, and of course we have the fireworks, which is really spectacular. If you haven't checked that out for a while, it's really cool. One note though, we are making a change. It's going to be gotta pay to come in and to attend. You can't just wander through. The reason we're doing this is that we have a lot of people that are coming up here from down the hill that are far too inebriated, and so we just want to keep the people that really want to be here. Really, family is our focus always. So we're focusing on the family. So we feel if we do a pay to play kind of a thing. Got email. Yeah, tell us that I'll get it tomorrow. But we really cherish the experience here, the whole fireworks and walking to place and visiting with friends. But we're going to have security and the whole thing here because we really want to keep it contained and really a cool event for families, and that's really our focus. So if you have any more questions about that, you can go to the front desk or you can call any of our representatives at the front desk. I'd like to acknowledge some of the folks that have come this evening, in addition to the entire Rasmussen entourage. This is so cool to see all of you here. It's really good. But we have from the other side of the hill, Supreme Judge David DeBoer. Yeah, good. You're here. One of our supervisors, Terry Woodrow. Is Terry still here?
Dennis Langston from Health and Human Services is here, and his wife. And I'd be a bit remiss if I didn't mention a couple folks from the mountain that came down this evening to join us. The new CEO of Bear Valley Mountain Resort is Martine Wagenstein. Martine. Jim Gentling. Jim, are you here? Alan. And I would be really remiss if I didn't make this mention. And today I was walking in the parking lot of the ski resort, taking care of some business, and see this white truck pull around and see this bald-headed guy I hadn't seen for a while in the truck. And I got to tell you, I almost got the tears on that deal. It just seemed so right. And Clayton, so good to have him back. The way the evening's going to unfold tonight is we're going to have a little movie here, a little vintage movie. This is something we showed maybe 4 years ago, and we didn't watch all of it. We just caught a few minutes of it. It's really cool, and it's Lugie Folger and all these Austrian guys skiing the backcountry Yosemite in the 30s and 40s, and it's really it's awesome. So we're going to start the program off with that. And then we have some acknowledgments for some other honorees tonight. And of course, the whole reason that we're here tonight and the main purpose for us of the program is to honor someone who is very near and dear to many of us, was just a spectacular individual and really the pioneers, one of the pioneering skiing families, one of the great skiing families, the patriarch of that family, Maury Rasmussen. So we're here to honor him tonight. And, we're going to try to keep it short. I must say the way that we've got this set up is I've received some great information, DVD, that kind of stuff from Bonnie, from a family member, Uncle Clayton, namesake, I'm assuming. And I was going to dice it up and do all these things to it, and I just kept looking at these things, and I'm going, I'm not going to touch one of these things. It's just so classic. So we're going to, the way we're going to do this in honor Maury is we're going to do like a family scrapbook. It's just some music. There's not going to be any narration, just kind of visuals and about him as a young man, a young boy growing up in Illinois, and go through that up and through the kids, Clayton and Dennis and Doug and Linda and the whole thing with those photographs. And then we're going to cover something that was really important to Maury, and that was his flying. We've got some really cool shots of him in his plane that he made himself. It was a Mustang, a midget Mustang, yeah. So we've got some of that, so we're going to do that just because it was such an important part of his life. So I thought we would honor him with showing some of that tonight. And then we're going to just show a portion of a DVD we did, again, I think it was 4 years ago, on the history of Bear Valley, but it's really going to just focus on the era of when Maury was here and the development of the ski resort. And I don't know if any of you have seen that, but we're not going to see the whole thing, just a snippet of it, and that's going to be it. So without further ado, let's cut to this movie here, and it's a classic. It's hilarious. So enjoy.
And we're ready for action. Of course, there's that little matter of getting to the top first, but with a 2,400-foot run ahead of us, when we get there, who minds a little climb? Come on, gang, let's strap them on and be on our way. And is it good to push off with that first feel of snow underfoot? Been some little time since we've been up here, but we all seem to remember how to handle them. Of course, it can't all be downhill, I'm sorry to say. Come on, Jack, you can't ride up in a chair every place you go. Besides, every fair weather skier in the country would be up on that slope if it was that easy to get there. Makes you feel a little more like a turtle than an eagle during this part of the trip. And so we climb and climb. But with this scenery, who cares? And what a thrill when you reach the top. Your lungs are full of that exhilarating mountain air. You're completely warmed up and raring to go. All that summer retrieved at this moment, standing on top of the world. Well-tried staves of hickory strapped to our feet, and a sloping blanket of white stretching below. Final check of the ski harness, shovel the poles, and we're off. Ah, that feels good. The sound of singing snow as we ease into the first gentle downward glide. Bend those knees, lean into that tingling mountain air. Thrill as you haven't thrilled since the last time you started down through space on the wings of speed. But speed controlled by an expert handling of every muscle of your body as you lean into the wind, glide into a Christie or telemark with the rhythm and the grace of a dancer. Drink in the tang of the air. Lose yourself in the exhilaration of the sport. Here we come. gods and mountains, commanding distance, space, and speed as we raced over the soft breast of the snow. But now, it's time to start back for the haunts of men. And one of the glorious paradoxes of the sport, we're as happy to head back for the warm fire of the ski hut after the day's sport as we were eager to speed into the snow fields in the morning. As we reach the hut, we're all tired with a happy fatigue that is mellowed by memories of the thrilling moments of the day's fun, and that makes us look forward contentedly to the evening around the blazing fireplace. And tomorrow, we'll step into a world created anew by the snow that already begins to fall over the trails we made today. Evening settles quietly over the mountain tops as the sun sinks through nature's rich blue and gold and flaming scarlet of day's end. Weary and happy, we watch as night spreads its cloak of darkness over the scenes of our day's sport. And we go into the cheery warmth of the hut to talk over plans for the skiing thrills of tomorrow.
So we're going to give Robin a little time to change into the next DVD, but something skiing to Wagner, huh? I think that was inspired by Louis Foger. If they made that movie today, they'd probably be skiing to the Black Eyed Peas or something like that. Yeah. Okay. One of the things I wanted to bring to your attention is that with the Historical Association, we're always looking for members, and we have a very modest membership application in terms of financial outlay, and it helps keep the lights on, allows us to have the museum and do events like tonight. And if you aren't a member, I'd like you, if you have the time and a little space in your checkbook, maybe see Susie Lewis tonight and become a member of the Historical Association. Really appreciate your support if you decide to do that. Thank you. You can't see what's on the screen. The Goodlow. Oh man, nothing good about that guy. He's a good man, truly. He's one of our favorite people. Jim Goodlow has worked for Alpine County for a number of years, also in Monmouth County as a health and human service officer, and he's just one of those good guys. A lot of us here that have been in the restaurant business for a while worked with Jim, and I have to say, and I don't, and any public official out there, please don't take this wrong, but anyone that I've come in contact with that works with the county has nothing on this guy. He's just one of the greatest guys, easygoing, but focused and to the point. Wants you to get the stuff done that you need to get done. And sadly, he's going to be gone. He's going to be retiring. So we, in honor of him, we wanted to bring him up and we wanted to talk to him a little bit. So I'm just going to ask him a couple of questions and we'll let him respond. I'm going to pull the mic out here. Hang on, Jim, you want to? Never lost for words, this guy, let me tell you.
One thing I'd like to share before we get started is some people in here would like to give me the boot, and I'm not going to name those people. But they know who they are, I think. And, but it's been a great ride. And I'm going to make this short. I think after seeing that movie, I do want to comment that I'm not in that movie. I mean, most of those people had hair, so, but it could have been my dad in there. So, anyways. We'll make mine short because you've got a lot bigger people here to share than me. All right. Question. That's right.
Okay, my first question to Jim is, tell us a little bit about your growing years.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, I was born a long time ago. I grew up in a little town called San Pedro, that some of you might know is one of the roughest towns in World War II. I survived San Pedro with 2 cars during my high school tenure. One was stolen and one was ran into. So when I graduated, I didn't have a car. Now, my next next question, my next one is, but I don't know if I have to share a little bit more. Let's see what's that next one there. Oh, we gotta go a little further, yeah. So after I graduated from high school, I got lucky and got a job with Safeway stores over in Manhattan Beach. That's where I got my education on the opposite sex. 3 years of trying to stay out of trouble. Then I moved on from there knowing that I couldn't peddle groceries all my life, although Dave's done a great job of that. So I moved on up to Utah State, got a degree in wildlife management, and basically that was joining a fraternity and staying loyal to the fraternity. Then I graduated from there, that was 1969, and Jeannie and I went off. I just married Jeannie, and we moved off into our land of a possible career.
Okay, you were booted out of boot camp. What's that all about?
You're good. Yes, I was. I decided that eluding it was long enough. I just let them have me. So in October of '69, I got drafted. The second week of boot camp, they found out I couldn't see very well. So they decided that in lieu of me shooting anything that moves, that it would be better if I went another route. So I got booted out of boot camp.
So now you're on your way to a career in wildlife, correct?
Absolutely.
This is your stuff.
I know where it's coming from. Yes, a career in wildlife management. That was my goal at that point. And Jeannie thought, I made this big effort to get this fancy degree, so let's move on. I couldn't find a job. Nobody wanted me. There was fish and game jobs all over the place, but somehow I didn't seem to fit the scheme. So, this goes back to my question again.
Oh, okay.
Practice makes perfect.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I forgot to put this question in there.
So you decided to play in the snow for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. That's when Ginny and I decided if I couldn't get a job, why work? Let's go to Mammoth Mountain and play. So in 1969, Ginny and I moved up to Mammoth, and we got on with Mammoth Mountain. And I decided that this wasn't too bad a gig. You could lay around here, have kids, play, do a little skiing, and all that kind of thing.
But what about those golden years? Later on in the future?
We're not ready for those golden years yet. During while we were playing, in about the third year of enjoying Mammoth Mountain, and I should share with you, some of you don't know, I don't think Sean Murphy's here tonight, but Sean was a Little League friend of mine. I had him on my Little League and Middle League in the Mammoth area. Anyways, so after getting to know Dave McCoy pretty well in those lean years with the Dave's area, Jeannie decided that I had to get a real job. And she discovered that she talked to some people in Levining. They found out I knew something about E. coli, and here I am. Starting in Inyo County, I spent 9 years working in Inyo County as a director down there for a few years. Spent some time up in Idaho working in various parts of the state up there for the Division of Environment. Did some water quality stuff there. And then I came back into the system here. I didn't want to leave the Eastern Sierra. It was a poor choice. So I came back into Siskiyou, Modoc County, and then my last 10 years here. And it's been I've worked in Alpine County for the last 10 years. I've worked part-time in Alpine County. But I'll tell you that the experience has been great. And you folks out here are very special to me because it kind of keeps me in touch with the ski industry, although I get to enjoy Kirkwood from time to time. But it's a different element when you're down here.
Okay, last but not least, Jim, where does this leave us in Bear Valley?
This leaves you in good hands because I'm leaving and my supervisor actually is going to take over the position for a short period of time. I've totally enjoyed the ride. There's some great people out here, the Eric Jugs, the Jeff Govillas, I could go on and on and on. Mark here, you've all been great. It's fun working with people that have visions that are going in a positive direction with economic lows that slow you down. But the future is great, and my plan is to move into kind of my sales career that I've always wanted to try, and I'm going to move over to Hawaii for a while, right there. And if you got a shirt for me, I'll take it. But I'm going to try it there for a month or so, and if that sorts out, I'm going to hang out there. But you could very well see me back here in northern Nevada. I love the desert, and I love it out there. And I've got 3 great grandkids from my 2 girls, and I call them my 3 amigos, 3 boys. And I'd like to see them grow up and have a great time in life like I have. That's
Great, Jim. Put our hands together for Team Goodell. We're obviously not taking this thing on the road. Now, but we wanted to bestow a plaque to James Goodlow, and it reads, this is from the Ebbets Pass Historical Association. The Ebbets Pass Historical Association wishes to recognize James Goodlow for his exceptional work with the Alpine County Health and Social Service Department in enhancing both the guest experience and safety within the county's tourism industry. So, Jim, congratulations. One of you guys. Now I have the pleasure of bringing up another one of the good guys. When I asked him to come up, it was because, under the premise that he would come up and honor Maury and the Rasmussen family because of his connection in the ski industry. And he didn't know that we were going to give him an award too, so this is a surprise to him tonight. But Bob Roberts, he's the executive director for the California Ski Industry Association, I've met a lot of people in the ski industry in my time in the business, and I have to say he is probably one of the top 2 guys or 3 guys that I've ever met in terms of a dedication to the sport, and intelligence, and a real passion for what he does. And he's served us well in the ski industry for many, many years. And I'm just going to read a little bit about a little bio on Bob before we have Bob come up. Bob Roberts received his A.D. in political science from Stanford University and an MBA in international business from Columbia University. He was in the first group of Peace Corps volunteers sent to Peru. His assignment was to supervise development and construction of a hotel and thermal baths in the Andes. Subsequently, he served as Peace Corps Regional Director in Bolivia and Director for the Latin American Training Center in Escondido, California. The Peace Corps furnished Bob with a fluency in Spanish, a fascination for resorts, and an aptitude for building effective coalitions. Upon leaving the Peace Corps, Bob settled with his family in Mount Shasta, California, where he owned a restaurant and operated the Mount Shasta ski area. Over 7 seasons, he redeveloped the resort's lodge lifts and became active in legislative affairs of the ski industry. When it became clear that the Forest Service had wilderness plans for Mount Shasta, he liquidated his business interests and relocated to San Francisco. Since 1975, he has served as Executive Director for the California Ski Industry Association. The CSIA represents 27 of California's alpine and cross-country resorts. It oversees the industry's legislative, technical training, risk management, and marketing programs. Its California snow programs have been highly successful in developing cooperative campaigns to attract foreign skiers and snowboarders to California. In 1998, the CSIA Virgin Atlantic Airlines program was awarded the TIA's Odyssey Award as the best in the United States. Bob has been the recipient of numerous industry awards and writes and speaks regularly on industry issues. He has also served as a consultant in Alaska, Central America, Argentina, and Kyrgyzstan. Bob also serves as director for the Travel Industry of America. Bob is actively involved in the creation of the California Travel and Tourism Commission. He was elected vice chair of the commission and served 6 years as its marketing committee, on the marketing committee that directs the state's tourism marketing programs. The commission's accomplishments include production of Wild California IMAX and Find Yourself Here television advertising campaign featuring Jack Nicholson and Clint Eastwood. The Winter in California Marketing Initiative starring Governor Schwarzenegger is the most recent effort. Currently, Bob serves as director of the Travel Industry of America. Bob and his wife, Betty, live in Mill Valley, California, and their grown children, Kirsten and Christopher, live in Portland, Oregon, and in Istanbul. The Roberts have 5 grandchildren, and I gotta tell you, this is just so brief. It would be a phone book to read to you all the things that he's accomplished. And without further ado, I'd like to have Bob Roberts come up.
Sucker punch.
Well, wow, it was kind of a surprise. Mark and I had known each other for a long time, and I didn't know you were that good. You pull this stuff off. Very impressive. First of all, I want to thank Mark for the invitation, because to come back to this building particularly, I have great memories of all the things that have happened for so many years here, and this is one of the, in my estimation, one of the really classic rooms in our industry, in all of the Sierra. And it's got history, but it has class, it has charm, and it has character, as you all know, and so many monumental things have happened here. But more importantly, Maury was a real inspiration, and when he told me about Maury, I said, well, I have a couple of stories, and I'll make them very brief, because this is really about Maury, but it's about all of us. I think it was, it must have been about 76. I was living by this time down in polite society. We had left the mountains. Unfortunately, the Forest Service had decided they were going to make a wilderness area out of my ski area. And so I had returned to the Bay Area, still working on ski projects, but out of Mill Valley. And Maury called and said, Bob, I have this problem with the state lift inspector people, and I want to come down and work it out. Well, Maury has always been, as you know, a very focused person when it comes to the mechanical side. He was a brilliant engineer in terms of what he could do and could see. And so I said, sure, I can't remember what it was, a rollback brake or diameter or cable, whatever it was. He was really concerned that the state had it wrong. And he was going to set them straight. So he said, meet me at Noss Field up in Nevada, I'll fly down. So we did. I don't know how I had forgotten, but somehow or other, the night before, my wife and I had been out, and I left the window rolled down on my car, one of the windows. And unbeknownst to me, a cat had jumped into the back seat, apparently spent the night, because it was parked in front of our house, and left. We never saw the cat. We didn't know the cat had been there. However, we went up and picked Maury up, and my wife was in the front seat because we were going to San Francisco, and she wanted to do some shopping, as those things happen. And Maury said, oh, I'll get in the back seat. Jumps into the back seat. Well, apparently, the cat, in addition to its snooze, could not find the kitty litter in the back seat of my car. And Maury proceeded to sit right down in the wrong spot. Well, you know what a polite and precise gentleman he is. I could tell he was really upset. Because here he was about to really make a presentation to these stuffy engineers in San Francisco from the aerial tramway standards. And he not only had a large stain in the wrong place, he had an odor that was really bad. And I was just mortified. I did not, I'm a kid, what am I supposed to do? This is terrible. There's one of the icons of our industry, one of the great men, and I've just screwed up his day, his life. So, with that, he says, where's your house? It's not that far from here. And so we ended up at my house. We at least got rid of the odor. Couldn't do much about the stain, but we got it kind of cleaned up and such. You'd have thought nothing had happened. We walked into that meeting. He handled it with such aplomb, with such professionalism, and all the time I'm thinking, I don't know if I could pull this off with a big stain on my derriere. I mean, it would have been tough. And he did it with such grace. And I felt all the way back to the airport, I just kept apologizing. And finally said, fine, Bob, done. He got what he wanted out of the state. He got back, and to Maury's enduring credit, never once And the rest of the other 3 or 4 years that he lived, that we would see each other with some regularity. Did he ever mention it? It was kind of one of those, yep, it happened, it's a problem, we solved it, we went on, done. And that was the way he was. The other thing that I think set a tone for our industry happened actually a few years before that. And I think it's important because we have a very unique organization on our little, we call it the California Ski Industry Association. In those days, it was called the Sierra Ski Race Association because we hadn't linked up with the guys in Southern California yet. And Maury was one of the real movers and shakers, as was Hugh Killebrew at Heavenly, as was Nick Badami at Alpine Meadows, and the infamous Jay Price at Boreal. It was a real gang of in-laws and outlaws, and tough competitors, but very strong personalities. We'd get together in a meeting. I remember this one meeting very clearly. It was at Boreal, and we had an individual I won't really identify, but I'll say he was a radio personality who had a ski reporting service, and he did weather reports and ski reports, and he kind of had a monopoly on it. Everybody used him. And he came as an associate member of the meeting, and he had found out that he had competition. Someone else was setting up another ski reporting service. And he got up and he started to really rail. And he maligned this guy, and he called him all sorts of things. He was really leaning into this potential competitor. Maury stood up and he said, "John, that's enough. You don't understand. In this business, we all compete against each other. But when we come to this meeting, we leave that at the door because we're here to work together as gentlemen, as professionals to solve problems. And that's the way we run things. And if you can't abide by that standard, you should leave." And we were all really taken back because it kind of was the way it was, but nobody said anything. Nobody had ever stood up and articulated the way that Maury did, that this is the ethic in this industry. We're not like a lot of other industries. We have a passion for what we do. Sure, we compete. But when we've got a problem, when we're working together, we come together and we make it work. And for me, Maury was just such a class act that he set a standard that really exists to this day. We have new people. We have never a lot of change in the industry. But Maury has set a tone. He set a tone that day that still exists. And I feel it in my heart, and I know that a lot of the younger people have passed it on, and it's just one of the refreshing things. So these are a couple of things that I wanted to pass along. I'd like to just simply say in conclusion that seeing Loogie Foger, Loogie was one of my mentors. I had some great mentors. But when Loogie came up to Mount Shasta, we had hired him because we wanted to develop and expand, not knowing that the Forest Service was about to cut off all of our top terminals. So Loogie came up, and I know a number of you are old enough to have skied on Mount Shasta at the old ski bowl, and if you do, you recall that it's above timberline. It's also a southern exposure, so the storms would come in and clobber us. I mean, we got 10 feet, 20 feet. I mean, we got incredulous amounts of snow. And we also had hellacious north winds. And of course, if that didn't get you, then the whiteouts would. So we just had this incredible battle with nature. When it was white, it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But Loogie came up, and he came on one of the days when the wind is blowing 70 miles an hour right down the main lift line, and my guys are struggling to kind of keep the equipment going, and I remember the flames were being blown out on all the torches. He looked around and he said, "Oh, you're not in the ski business. You're in the equipment repair business." And I have always, that set a standard. And Loogie and I got to be very close, and he came up a lot, and he was an extremely important part of my life. So between Maury and Loogie, Mark, you've made this a hell of an evening, and I really appreciate it.
Typical of Bob, we call him up for his award. He talks about Maury, which of course is gracious and wonderful, but it's the kind of guy he is. He's a great guy and really one of my favorite people in the world. Evans Pass Historical Association wishes to recognize Bob Roberts for his significant contributions to snow sports industry. As Executive Director for the California Ski Industry Association, Bob has provided superior leadership for California's ski resort community in the areas of marketing, public relations, and governmental affairs. And Bob, on our behalf, thank you.
Thank you. This means
Thanks so much. Okay, so moving along, we're going to get on to Maury's tribute. And again, like I said earlier, what we're going to do is we're going to show some DVD footage that one of the family members put together, and then a clip on the skier that he was involved with. But it's such good stuff, the stuff that Uncle Clayton had given us, and Bonnie helped facilitate. Bonnie Rasmussen. Bonnie and Dennis couldn't be here tonight. Dennis just had knee surgery, so he's recuperating. But they sent his daughter, their daughter, Bowie, in their stead. Bowie, good to see you. But what I'd like to do is just read a brief, just kind of an overview, just a brief overview, and then we'll get on to these DVDs. Maury Rasmussen was born in 1912 in Minden, Nebraska, to Frederick and Dagmar Rasmussen. His parents were immigrants from Denmark, and they had 5 children. Frederick was a minister, and in time, Maury's oldest brother was to become a minister as well, and another brother, a missionary. Maury was once asked, in jest, how come he missed being a man of the cloth with so many family members doing so? He replied in jest, somebody's got to make the money. In truth, Maury was a most religious man, very, very close to his faith, and was known universally for his exceptional work ethic, honesty, and integrity. She agrees. A true man's man, where he agrees. At age 18, Maury met his wife, B. Ruth, in Momence, Illinois, and in 1930, they started this courtship, eventually married in 1935. During the courtship, Maury had enlisted in the Army Air Corps, spurred on by a love of flying, that found its roots in an airplane ride that he took in the late 1920s in a U.S. mail biplane. After high school, Maury enlisted and became a flight mechanic and a gunner with the Air Corps 26th Attack Squadron stationed in Hawaii. After his time in the service and his eventual marriage to Ruth, Maury took a job with Lockheed and settled in Glendale, California to pursue, with Lockheed, his love of aeronautics. Maury and Ruth had 4 children, Dennis, Doug, Clayton, and a daughter, Linda. Eventually, the family settled in Calaveras County towards the end of World War II, where Maury started the first of 4 lumber companies in the area. At the height of his success, Maury sold his lumber business in 1966 to embark on a career in the ski resort business along with a longtime friend and fellow recipient of this award, Bruce Orvis. Mount Reba Bear Valley was the culmination of years of exploration, planning, construction envisioned by Rasmussen, Orvis, and local forester Harry Shunke. The resort opened in December of 1967 and quickly gained national attention with its amazing terrain, especially the lower mountain, and its pristine environment. Many Hollywood celebrities called Bear Valley their home, and the young Central California resort was hailed as the next Squaw Valley and even landed the prestigious U.S. National Ski Championships in 1969. During his tenure, Maury continually reinvested revenues into the ski area to make it one of the prominent resorts in California. Maury and his sons Dennis and Clayton and their wives Bonnie and Ginger respectively assisted Maury in the management of the resort until its untimely death in December of 1978 while responding to an on-hill operational problem at the bottom of Grizzly Bowl. The Rasmussens continued to run the resort until the early 1990s. So with that, I think we're going to turn it over to some slideshow action and sit back and enjoy. It's really great. Thanks to Uncle Clayton. And enjoy. Kind of covered the whole thing from his service growing up in Illinois up through his service and marriage to Ruth and his love of flying and of course his lumber mills that were very, very successful and which he sold off to start all of this in 1966. I'm going to give Robin a little bit of time to cue up our next CD, and I'd like to have Eric Jung come up. Eric, would you find your way up to the podium? Thanks.
I want to talk about a couple of the qualities that made Maury one of the most extraordinary people I've ever known. There's a favorite Zen saying of mine, don't wobble, as a way to get through life. And Maury was the unwobbliest person I ever knew. I never saw anyone for whom focus came so naturally and so instinctually. Most of us have to work to try and stay focused. But Maury always seemed to me to be completely focused. And I never saw him wobble. He knew where he wanted to go and he knew how to get there. Now, it doesn't do the world a lot of good to be that focused and persevering if you're a moron, leaving a trail of desolation and problems behind you. And so the second quality I would call batting average. All of us make some mistakes, and some have better batting averages than others. Maury batted 1,000, the Maury that I knew. I just never saw him have to back up and redo. I never saw such a combination of focus and correct action in one person. And I'm going to tell you one little story, my favorite Maury story, that I think illustrates both of those qualities, and it's the incident that I call the Winnebago Mutiny. In the mid-'70s, when the mountains started getting more business, they realized they had to systematize their parking a little better. And up to that point, they'd been letting the campers, the RVs, park down in the lowest lot and park close. And it wasn't the most optimum arrangement for the use of the space down there. It created problems for the plowing, and it took up a lot of spaces. The mountain decided to put all the RVs up by the sand shed in the RV lot and make a better use of the space down in the lower lot. Well, the first Saturday morning that the RV troop were told that they had to go park up there, they all went up there and they all got together in the parking lot and had a mutiny and marched down in a troop to the main office and said, we've all agreed that if you don't let us park where we parked before, we want our money back. We want to turn in our season passes and we want our money back. And there was quite a stir, and all the front office people at the front desk were trying to decide how to handle this thing. Well, Maury's office was only about 30 feet away, and he heard the flap up in the front. Maury walked up to the front, asked what was going on. They told him what was going on, and Maury disappeared the Winnebago Mutiny with 5 words. Give them their money back. He turned around and walked back to his office, and none of the Winnebago mutineers took him up on his word. The mutiny disappeared in a puff of smoke. That was Maury's way. He was focused, and he made the right call without having to think about it. And next to my dad, with whom Maury shared many qualities, and with an honorable mention to Bruce Orvis, Maury truly was the finest man I've ever known.
Thank you, Eric. When Eric says stuff like that, he means it. You guys know Eric. Thank you for that. We're going to finish up tonight's program before we make the award presentation to the family with, we covered a lot of his life, but we haven't really covered much about the skiing, and obviously it's a winter sport history night, so we need to touch on that. So
without further ado, we're going to show a segment of a DVD we did about 4 years ago that illuminated the time and some of the relationships that Maury had while he was here in Bear Valley. In 1953, Valley Rancher, college football star and avid skier Bruce Orbison and his father Bill purchased 400 acres in Bear Valley from the Bishop Mining Company, who had bought it from Harvey Blood in 1920. Purchase included a meadow, Osborne Ridge to the southeast, and a slope north of Evans Pass, and an area north that would become Bear Valley's Old Sud. Later that year, Orbis met Harry Schenke, who worked at the U.S. Forest Service in Hathaway Pines. Orbis had heard of the Schenke brothers and respected their knowledge of the mountains, and in particular their expertise of the Bear Valley Tamarack area. In the late to mid-1950s, Bruce, Harry, and logger Maury Rasmussen were taking ski trips into Horse Canyon, Wheeler Creek, Bull Run, and up to Mount Reba, named after Harvey Blood's daughter Reba. The word was out that the area they were skiing was some of the best in the West. Where a Squaw Valley ski instructor, Wes Thomas, stated this could be one of the premier ski resorts in America. Everyone's enthusiasm was soaring. At this point, the idea for a ski resort proceeded the development of a newer subdivision with resort-style amenities. Bruce, Maury, and Harry were enthused about the prospects. Soon Bruce was thinking even bigger with the idea of a combined ski area and a village resort. In time, the vision would be realized. Bruce would be president of both the Bear Valley Development Company and now with the ski area. Maury Rasmussen was general manager of the ski area operations. Harry and the U.S. Forest Service were still the environmental barometers and would keep an eye on the process. A great many weasel ski trips were completed, and the aerial photos were taken to show the layout of the area boundaries and route placement. And in 1965, the U.S. Forest Service approved a prospectus for the development of Mount Reba to open during the 1967-68 season. Orbis got the nod with the Forest Service to start construction. Work started with access roads, logging the runs, placement of utilities, and then the construction of 3 double rivet chairs, providing lift access to both the upper and lower mountain, thus giving the area 2,100 vertical feet of skiable terrain. The work crews poured into the project, and Maury's sons, Dennis and Clayton, Brendan Foreman, John Burgess, and an army of help started to piece together the journey. By late summer of 1967, building the day lodge had started. It would have a flat roof and a rustic but very accommodating interior. And within a short period of time, the ski area was coming together. Now Maury Rasmussen started to build his operational team. In Bear Valley, Orbis is on the same timeline, putting the finishing touches on the first phase of the village development. Shops, restaurants, and the 62-room Bear Valley Lodge would be completed. And up at Mount Reba, Bob Shedd was hired as ski patrol director, along with Hugh Campbell, Bill Davis, Greg Clinton, Steve Shear, and Dick Shedd. Rick Carney got the contract to run the ski school and race department and brought a stable of ski instructors with him, including Billy Rhodes. Maury's son Dennis Rasmussen, his wife Bonnie, Dennis's brother Clayton, and his wife Ginger would round out the key family operational team that in part would last almost 35 years. The ski area opened on December 5th. Bruce's dream of a destination resort was realized. Lift tickets were $6.50, a private lesson was $12.50, and the resort had 40,000 skiers that season. The thing that set Mount Reba apart from other Central Sierra resorts was the higher elevation and the lower mountain. Grizzly and Snow Valley enticed skiers like Jerry Faust to ski there. It was big, and it was some of the most amazing terrain in the West. Hundreds of acres of open bowls and steep chutes rang the bell. Families flocked to the ski area because it suited skiers of all abilities and talents.
families would always be the center of the Bear Valley experience. The 1968-69 season was one for the record books, and in more ways than one. The koala chair was built giving the area 4 double riblets. And at the mountain, Bob Shed hired Malcolm Fouts, Craig Rice, Dick Olson, and King Summers as new patrolmen. In a major coup, the U.S. Nationals came to Bear Valley and Mount Reba. UST team members like Pete Cashua, Spider Savage, and Billy Kidd, among other notables, competed in slalom, giant slalom, and downhill in 1969. The DH started near the top of the hill and ended at the pad at the bottom of the grizzly chair. Bear's creative marketing efforts launched both the Ski Bear bumper sticker, often altered by Bear Valley skiers, and the Bear Bottom Betty poster. Other advertising included the Bear Valley Boys ad that featured, among things, free skiing for stewardesses. Former U.S. ski team member and Olympic bronze medalist Jimmy Huga came to Bear from his home hill in Squaw Valley in the late 1960s. Huga ran a series of summer race camps and did some marketing for Mount Reba. Lots of aspiring young racers attended these camps, which sometimes lacked snow, but never enthusiasm. Another Olympian, New Orsi, made his home and worked in Bear Valley. But the most amazing event that season was the snow. 70 people were killed that season. Caltrans road crews along the Taos Highway 4 were challenged, and lift lines had to be shoveled out near the summit of their top stations. The all-volunteer Stockton chapter of the National Ski Patrol played a big role in the early days of Mount Reba. Without their help and ability to provide rescue and first aid services, the mountain would have had a more difficult time with its day-to-day operations. Names like Joe Ryan, Tom Oliver, Sarah Paul, Glenn Cook, Whit and Gene Lang were instrumental in the program's success. The sophomore beginnings of a resort community and the turbulent 60s in America were turning a corner. The Rasmussens, Bob Shed, Malcolm Fouts, and others were working hard to make Mount Reba one of the premier ski resorts in the West. During the 1970s, another 3 riblets would be installed for a total of 7 double chairs. Kodiak on the lower mountain, Super Cub, and Hibernation on the upper would complete the fleet for the decade. And the Hibernation chair would open a much-needed intermediate terrain section on the backside of the mountain. In the middle of everything was Maury, a true man's man and an engineering genius that could fix anything. He was the man on the mountain, and the mountain was on the move. But the Bear Valley Development Company was in some serious financial trouble. A case of a little too much too soon would send them into chapter filings and take them up and away. And although star-crossed in their appeal, cross-country skiing and snowmobiling would become significant additions to both the utilitarian and recreational options in Bear Valley. New fads and a new ski school lab hit Mount Reba. Peter Brinkman was handsome, charming, and had a plan to help business and promote his ski school. The son of Hollywood royalty, Peter was an architect by degree. Prior to coming to Mount Reba, he was the ski school director at Heavenly Valley, where he had a reputation as a shaker and a mover and a way with the girls, plus a lifestyle and an attitude to match. One of his famous sayings was, "I'd rather drive an old Porsche than a new Volkswagen any day." The first and foremost was a philosophy to have a great ski school, and package that reputation with week-long functions and activities to ski clubs and organizations throughout California. It worked. Peter's hard work brought hundreds of skiers to Bear Valley most weeks in the winter, and became the lifeblood of midweek comics for both the ski area and the village. To keep the ski school and race team at the highest level, creating for a talent with the likes of John Reveal, Tim Kennedy, Dick Dorwer, Leo Flores, Jan Tischhauser, Heinz Stryker, and Roger Kess. Furthermore, he developed talent from within, selectively hiring young and talented wannabes and turning them into some of the most respected instructors in the Far West. John Wagner, Jan Vandermeer, George Stone, Bob Shimke, Mike Davis, Mike Curtin, Rick White, Paul Peterson, John Hawk, Tim and Sherry Mann, and Marilyn Kim became our lead instructors and coaches. And two of Brickman's young proteges, Rick Ryder and Mark Phillips, were selected onto the first professional ski instructors of America regional demo team in 1979. Also during this period, a long list of talented junior racers came out of Bear Valley Race Team. Ski families like the Metlers, Hoffmans, Dills, Holmeses, and the Rasmussens producing the best ski racers to come out of the Far West region. One family in particular, the Rasmussens, were very successful. One boy in particular would become a three-time Olympian and win the prestigious Lava One downhill in Bingen, Switzerland. But the one thing that positioned the resort like no other event or program was the Bear Valley Celebrity Crime Races of the mid-70s. National television, top-tier celebrities, and the gods of ski racing descended onto Mount Reba Bear Valley and turned up the volume for the resort. Celebrities such as Janet Leigh, Liza Minnelli, Merv Griffin, Mike Connors, Doug McClure, Natalie Wood, and the infamous Claudine Blanchet were there. And two other people that would become synonymous with Bear Valley, Robert Conrad and Lloyd Bridges. The events were high energy and featured amazing head-to-head skiing by the pros on one of the toughest hills found on the tour, Feather Duster. Bobby Adams Pro Tour featured pro races like Spider Savage, Bill Kidd, Hank Cashua, Hugo Lindell, Ken Ford, Joseph Odermatt, and the King of Kings, Jean-Claude Killy. But the people came to see the stars, especially that poncho-wearing